You know what else is hot? The Pistons.
The Pistons.
It always comes back to the Pistons. First to the Pistons. Lions to the Pistons.
What if we just drop the first just to the whistle?
Yeah. First, the Lions to the Pistons. Woo! It's brisk out there this morning, man. Got me kind of fired up.
Kool Aid, you always fired me up.
That's right.
Let's rock. Good
What up,
morning,
now?
baby. Hey, it's first to the whistle here on Sunday morning,
Fired up,
March
man.
1st, boys. March 1st.
A
This
new
year is
month.
flying.
What happened? Like last year, it felt like the year just crawled along. Now all of a sudden, it feels like it wants to slow down a little bit. And you know what? Maybe it's right on time for the Lions, who got a lot of big decisions to make here this offseason.
A lot coming in the next 11 days before the next official league year begins. This is first to the whistle. We're talking Lions, although Detroit sports are pretty hot right now. We wish we could talk Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers, but we're here on a Sunday morning with you on the Woodward Sports Network talking about the Detroit Lions. There's been a lot going on with the draft combine, a lot going on with the salary cap. There's been some Lions players in the news, not necessarily for good things, but we've heard a lot out of Allen Park and Indy.
So not saving like kittens out of trees?
No, the
Not
opposite.
helping ladies, like old ladies across the street?
No, like chasing after burglars or
What?
stuff. Yeah. Why does it feel like every March the cornerback room seems to be in the news? Not in the
Goodness
good way.
gracious.
Not in the good way.
Despite the amount of investments that have been placed there, whether it's draft capital or actual cap space.
They spent some money and it hasn't worked out yet.
Yo, as Brandon would say, some chickens.
Oh, some chickens. Chasing them chickens. We're going to talk about it. My name's Matt Broder. On the desk, joined by Brandon, Detroit Kool Aid Dent. Good morning. And for the Lions,
up,
Guten
though?
Morgen.
Good morning.
They're headed to Germany.
Hey,
We'll talk about that too.
I like cheese.
Oh,
Yeah.
cheese is good. There's some things I want to talk about this game in Germany for the Lions. I don't know if you knew, I played baseball in Germany for a season. So I'm excited, actually. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. In the TD booth, young Hefe. Jeff Walker, good morning, man.
What's good? What's good?
What up, though?
Hey, listen, giving a little content for us. The NFL is with the combine here starting up. Record-breaking combine, by the way. It
There have
seems
been
like
some-
every single skill group is absolutely athletic freaks when it comes down to it. Besides the quarterback room, which doesn't have much in it. So
There are some athletic freaks in that quarterback
There's some
room, though. You see a guy
freaks in this draft.
43.5 vertical out of, was it Jalen Green out of, was it Arkansas?
Yeah, Taylor Green.
Taylor Green?
Yep.
It's fun.
Wow.
A lot of the ones who showed out weren't necessarily in positions of need for the Lions, but nonetheless, the combine is fun to watch, fun to follow.
How about Sonny Styles?
That was gonna be, but just my little kind of quick question was: is there anybody within a group, like a position group, that kind of stood out for you?
A lot
briefly?
of the safeties, they all ran pretty much well. The ones that did run, they ran well. So that's a position in need.
That is definitely a
That's
position
right.
in need.
There's a lot of big guys out there running good, but you don't really need the big guys to run good. You need them to stop the run,
Exactly.
Let's go.
and that's what we want to see.
Exactly. I'm excited for the offensive linemen to go today at 1 o'clock. But you said Sonny Styles. I know someone who's styling in the sun. Stick. Good morning, Stick, down in Grand Cayman.
Shout out,
Hey.
Stick.
Everybody, and look, I'm not as pale as I used to be.
Look at you. Look at
Shout
you. How's
out.
everything going down there, man?
Hey, I like that shirt.
Lions are becoming the most popular team in Grand Cayman, I'm sure.
I am championing them like nobody else's business. I have spoke the gospel down here to everybody. It's Sunday, so I'm on the air letting people know, hey, Jared Goff, he's going to be our savior.
Oh no!
Hey, so wait a minute. What did he say? He's spreading the, what is it? What do you call it?
Gospel?
The gospel. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
The
Shout out to Stick.
gospel.
It is Sunday morning.
I was gonna say there's two
It
things
is.
we can count on him to do. It's to make sure that he spreads the truth of golf.
Yes.
And Woodward sports, man. Shout out to that shirt.
It's doing the Lord's
Yeah,
work.
thank you, man. I still represent the brand down here, man, even though I don't have too many short sleeve shirts, but it's early in the morning down here. I was able to head to the beach before I came in, and it was a little breezy. It was like 70 degrees today when I woke up, and that's unacceptable.
Dude, I want to give you the Brian Branch so bad right now.
70 degree breezes.
Yeah, it's sunny out right now, but it's like, what, 30 outside? You know
like
the Brian Branch
field
at
of
Lambeau
19.
Field?
The double birds?
Yeah, the double birds.
The double birds.
That's all I could think about, Stick. Good morning, man. We got
Good morning, guys.
a
Good
packed
morning,
Woodward Sports chat. John Effing Lord's in here. Charles Hicks 299 says Arnold is a bum. Vincent E 313. Good morning, JFL, and the goat Broder. He's talking about me.
Yeah.
Good morning, fans. Xavier
Don't be
DT,
surprised.
Daddy Broder, James Ref, JCJ all day. Greg Thomas, Steve-O baby. Thank you all for joining us. A Diz.
Papa Broder.
I said Guten Morgen because in this past week, it was announced the Lions are getting a game in Germany. They're playing in Munich, Germany. It's going to be one of their slated home games. So while normally they'd get 9 Ford Field games and 8 away games, they're getting 8 games at Ford Field, and one of those is headed to Germany. First off, Kool Aid, what do you think about that for the Lions, traveling to Germany for this game?
There used to be a part of me that would complain about this and talk about what this means for our squad, if it's going to kind of knock them off their rhythm. But this is just what the NFL is now. You know, every team is going to go through this stuff, and why not to a place that at least you may be the rooting favorite with an Amon-Ra St. Brown there. So at this point in time, I'm just like, you know what? Let's go Lions.
Let's go
Why not?
Lions.
Because they usually turn up in situations where they know the cameras are on them.
Yeah, and the cameras are going to be on them even more because Amon-Ra St. Brown, his mother is of German heritage. He is fluent in German. He has a following out there in Germany, so it's even that much more exciting for those who follow the Lions in Germany. Stick, are you excited for this game, or are you more bummed that it's not at Ford Field? They lose a game in the false start factory that is down in Detroit.
Definitely disappointed that this is a home game, but honestly, like, it's the worst kept secret in NFL history. Of course they're putting Amon-Ra St. Brown in Germany. Of course that was going to happen over the next couple of years. And like you said, you know, when you got a player that can be that ambassador that speaks German, like, they're just going to go absolutely nuts for the Detroit Lions there, because guess what? Press conferences, they're going to be in German. Post game, it's going to be in German. Like, the language barrier is going to be broken down so far by Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they've built this story up. You know, like, every time they talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's got the German flag on the back of his fucking helmet, for Christ's sake. Like, you knew this was going to happen.
You can see the setup a mile away.
Exactly. Like, they told the story. They did what they should, and this is why the NFL is so smart. They didn't just throw him in Germany year one. They let him, okay, we got kind of a budding star on our hands. We're going to do some feature about how his mom is German. We're going to keep, telling the story. And this year, it's just going to be like a homecoming for the Detroit Lions, because what other German's going to be rooting against us? Who are we playing over there, by the way? Do we know?
Do we know who, or do you know who's in the mix? I know, like, the Jaguars and Commanders are going to London. I might have missed who they might be playing. It was probably announced. Maybe Young Hefe will check.
Well, it has to be someone on the home schedule, right? So it's
right.
It's one of 9 teams, because we know who they're playing at home. But regardless, I think it's a great thing. It's a good thing for the NFL. NFL becoming a global business. Just check out their halftime shows the last couple of years. That's what they want. They want to bring everybody to the party, and it's going to be a party in Germany. And Broder, you spent some time over there. I spent a summer in Germany, and the baddies, the beer, the food, it's all good in Germany.
They like to party. They like to have fun. They like their sports. How they rally around their soccer teams or their football teams, as they'll say in Germany, is insane. Like, I went to an Eintracht game in Frankfurt, and it was, I think, a stadium of 40,000. It felt like the Big House. It felt like 100,000. Wow. They make it a full day experience. You're down there tailgating early. It's wild. So to think of what they're going to do when an NFL team joins, not just any NFL team, but like Stick just said, the St. Brown-led Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
it's going to be incredible. And the fact that it might fall, it will likely fall somewhere during Oktoberfest, plus or minus a week.
Well, that may be a
better.
problem for the linemen.
True.
They're going to head to Hopper House. They're going to get the beers that are like this fucking big. They're going to pound them. Like, that's the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, right?
Is how drunk these guys are going to get in Germany. But I think Dan Campbell will have them focused on it being a business trip.
Yeah.
So, no specific team has been named yet.
Yeah.
A part of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's got to be one of the ones we were playing at home, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
you can narrow it down to, what, 9?
Even more proof that this was an absolute layup or alley-oop for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we've been seeing a
They
lot
don't
of
even know who
those.
the opponent is. Just, hey, Lions, y'all already know y'all are going. Let's just make sure your fans know. Whoever wants to go, start buying your tickets now.
Yeah, it was like Cade Cunningham throwing the oop to Jalen Duren.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Always comes back to the
Yeah.
business.
What a combo those two have become.
One of the best dynamic duos in the NBA. Maybe one we talk about in a future episode here of dynamic duos in Detroit sports. They're definitely up there, maybe at the top of the list. But
Jalen
Stick, you
Duren
talked
really
about
looking like a
worrying about
Robin.
the offensive linemen and the fun that they're going to have. Got me thinking, and I want you guys, crew, before answering this, to think about different places around the world. What would be the coolest place for the NFL to have a football game? And put whatever twist you want on it. Maybe it's a place you'd like to visit, so a fun place. Maybe it's just a unique spot to have a game. But while you're thinking, Stick, I'll call you Stickelangelo. I want you to paint me a picture paint me a picture of Grand Cayman, where you're at now, and what it would be like if the NFL had a game down there. I'm talking Dan Campbell and flip-flops. Let me hear what it would all be like.
Oh, man, you know those pictures of, like, Santa when they try to make him like he's from Florida? That's what Dan Campbell would look like. He'd have on the flowery shorts. But, no, I mean, Grand Cayman, when I tell people about where I'm at, it's like the Bloomfield Hills of the Caribbean. Like, it's the richest island. It's the safest island. It has the best food of all of them. It's the culinary capital of the Caribbean. I can't speak highly enough about this island, and that's why I'm down here. Like, listen, Jamaica has my heart. But, Jamaica's a little thugged out, too, and that's why I love Jamaica. But as far as, like, raising a family and good food and easy living, you cannot beat what this island is. And I'm happy to share it with the people of Detroit. And I was actually talking to DJ Godfather. By the way, we're at the opening day party with Godfather and all them
Shout
again.
out DJ Godfather.
And I was like, we need to do a Detroit Cayman exchange. Like, bring a bunch of Detroiters down here to party and then send a bunch of Caymanians out there to party. Because at the end of the day, the culture in the Caribbean, I always said, like, the reason I love the Caribbean so much, the reason I would move down here is that it's similar to Detroit, man. Like, Detroit versus everybody means we're on a fucking island. These people are literally on a fucking island. And it's about food, it's about culture, it's about music, and they're very similarly aligned, whether you believe it or not, Detroit and the Caribbean.
Sounds like a great place to host a game. Forget the number. I know there'll be a lot of people who will come as tourists, but sounds like a welcoming place, a good host down there in Grand Cayman. I got to ask, though, do kneecaps pair well with rum?
Yeah, I mean, we'll throw them in with the oxtails, and it'll be delicious.
A little oxtail stew.
Oxtail.
Little king.
We live in Kool Aid.
Barbecue jerk. Oh, my God. Hey, look, you woke me up with that one. Goodness gracious.
I love it. I would love to go
Rice
visit
and
Grand
peas.
Cayman somewhere, but
Roast
Kool Aid,
Come on, guys.
Jeff, chat. Where do you want to see a game in the NFL sometime in the future? I know a lot of people don't even like these international games, and it is what it is. But what would be a cool spot? You want to go see a game in Paris, or you want to go to the Swiss Alps? I think I heard Shep talking about it this week on the Braylon Edwards show with Shep. What are some cool places around the world where it would be cool to have a game?
Yeah, so you're trying to take Detroit back to its Detroit roots, its
Yeah,
architectural roots?
A little bit. A little Pontiac, a little Detroit.
I know this is kind of out there because nobody actually wants to go there, but I think a game in Antarctica would be great. Like, just freezing, send the Packers bitch asses up there, let them play on a real frozen tundra for once. Like, that's where I would want to send them. I think that'd be so cool to see a game, like, in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, but look, man, I didn't know how outlandish we get with this thing or how, like, it's normally sane, but me, I'm calling up ex-owner Elon Musk, and I'm finding a way to get them on Mars.
See, this is what I want. You can get wild with it.
Let's go. That's what I'm doing, man.
Yeah.
A football game for Mars. And you know what? Since this is just the lay of the land, NFL just going ahead and book the Lions. We'll be first.
Let's do it. Because I was thinking, you know how they have college basketball games on the ships in the middle of the ocean?
Yeah. Michigan State crushed that. In North Carolina?
Yeah. They've done it a couple of times, but I picture Michigan State in it each time. Like, things like that. I want to see a football game in some wild places.
The special jerseys, having the camo jerseys.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Where would be Australia or New Zealand would be pretty fun with the rugby culture. We have like the All Blacks. We'll wear the All Blacks.
Look, I would be fire. But now you got me thinking. I would do one in Egypt, man, with the pyramids right behind
it. Pyramid in the background.
Yeah.
You know who is coming back this season for the Lions? He hasn't played yet, really, but Hassanin. We got followings in Egypt.
Look at there it is. Book it.
You know what?
How about this, guys?
It's booked already. It's done.
How about this? North Korea, South Korea, the 50-yard line separates the two countries.
That's a thought.
Whose end zone? If we play in that game, whose end zone would be in South Korea?
Bro, I don't know. All I know, it would be a war. That game would be a war.
I'm definitely taking the South Korea zone.
That's also one of the games I'm not interested in visiting. I'll watch streamed on Peacock or something. Maybe Amazon Prime.
I want to know, Stig, if you could pick any team, which one are you putting on the North Korea zone against the Lions?
Oh, it's definitely the Packers. They can live there. A bunch of communists up in Green Bay.
Look, it used to be that for me. But now it's the Ben Johnson and the Ben Johnsonets.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Chicago.
Send the Bears there.
The rumor Anzalone considering Chicago. Are you kidding me? But we got LeBartney in the chat. $5 super chat. Thank you, man. I think he's out in Dubai. Speaking of a cool place to have a game, Dubai should be on that list. He says, shout out Woodward Sports Network. First to the Whistle crew. All of the chat and Michigan having Canada as a neighbor instead of Iran. That's facts. Facts.
That's
Greg
a
Thomas.
noisy neighbor to have right now.
That would be a noisy neighbor. Greg Thomas says Greenland. I like that. John Effing Lord, Amsterdam. Amsterdam would be pretty dope. It would be a very calm game. It would be a very slow game. It would be very ethereal.
Who's trying to play the football?
It would be a game. Vincent E says Tokyo. J-Rod16, no China or Russia. GM
Thailand.
LeBartney from Crazy Clown. Would you say Thailand?
Yeah, Thailand.
Introduce the players out on elephants. That would be cool.
Yes.
But anyways, that was fun.
Give me Africa, right? Lions playing Africa. Lions roaming the background. Like that's as best as it's gonna get. Like you got your mascot right there. Finally, the Lions have the true Lions mascot.
Did Jeff just point out the obvious that we never thought? Like just the Lions.
Remember how Dan Campbell wanted the Lions to
Fair.
actually have a lion, coming out of the tunnel with the team? Like now they get that chance. They have it.
Yeah, that was I like that. A little bit more direct.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I'm excited for this game in Germany. One of the reasons they keep expanding to these different countries is to make more money. And
there's one reason and one reason only.
Right, and the side effect of that we saw just a couple days ago. The NFL salary cap jumped up for the first time ever over $300 million. $301,200,000 for the 2026 season, up $22 million from 2026. So let's talk about how the Lions can take advantage of that. And before we talk about how they're going to take advantage of all the different ways, was this the first gift that the NFL has given the Lions in recent memory?
It's not a gift yet, brother.
It's not a gift yet, but a couple days prior to this announcement, one Taylor Decker announced his return. He said he's coming back. He's playing this season. He's going to be the Lions' starting left tackle. The cap hit for Taylor Decker is just over $21 million, and the salary cap raise is $22 million. So did the NFL just give the Lions Taylor Decker for free? They gave him his victory lap, and now let's play with the rest of the salary cap. Let's figure out how to get it all to work. I know I'm kind of making
I
a little.
was wondering, even before that, I was wondering how people were feeling about Taylor Decker. If people were ready to say, what's ahead, or if they really wanted him to check back into that $21 million. because it does present something different. I'm glad that cap went up, but then with so much seemingly wrong, as we've just continued to talk about this Lions team, I do wonder what the other side would look like. Both the Taylor Decker, people talk about the injuries he's had, but realistically, he's played. He's found a way to be out there on the field, and that to me is what matters most. And I think that sets a precedence, especially when you're trying to rebuild what you call the best part of, or the best unit on your team, which used to be offensive line. Overall, though, I'm fired up. If it was 5 flames, I think 4 out of 5 flames. Fired up.
All right. Are you fired up, Stick? Taylor Decker returns.
Fired up is probably a little too extreme. I'm happy. Like, I don't think you're going to find a better replacement for Taylor Decker immediately. You know, obviously that's something that you should probably address in the draft, or you know, give these other guys a little bit more time to grow. So, you know, it's not like, oh my God, Taylor Decker's back, but it's like, all right, cool. You know, we're rolling it back, and I'm okay with that. I know people are going to bitch that he's not what he used to be, and that, you know, maybe we move him to right tackle and move Panay over there to left tackle, do a little switcheroo, give him a little easier route with not having to take on the premier defensive end that's coming at Jared Goff's blind side. So, you know, it just gives you flexibility to have a senior player on the team, somebody who can help coach up the young regime that we're bringing in. So I like it. To me, it doesn't make the team infinitely better, but it does give us some solidarity that I think we sorely needed. Yeah,
kind of changes. It changes where you have to prioritize. Maybe the draft, like if you were thinking you were going to have to either sign a free agent left tackle, which isn't easy or cheap, or draft a left tackle to come in and be your starter, a left or a right tackle, come in and be your starter day one, that doesn't have to be priority number one now. Doesn't mean the offensive line isn't a priority. You can't figure out how to fix that. It just means, all right, we can talk about center. We can talk about edge. We can talk about cornerback and safety, and draft not a Gio Manu developmental tackle, but a tackle that might need a year behind Decker, a year with Decker, to be prepared to step in and take over once he retires.
Well, and it gives Decker the chance to ride out into the sunset, right? Like, I think we all know now this is Taylor Decker's last year, right? Like, I don't think he's coming back for another year. So it gives you kind of a rah-rah moment. Let's win it for the Gipper thing, for the locker room. You know, Taylor Decker's been here since this team was dog shit. Let's get him a Super Bowl appearance. And it's a nice story.
Yeah. I don't think he's a needle mover, but he's also one who can keep that floor relatively high.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it's a little bit of what we've all kind of where all of our ideas have overlapped is you don't have to start over at that position, where now you're realizing there might be a few more holes in this boat that you have to get plugged up before you can set sail. And that's where I'm glad that, okay, if you got a Taylor Decker, that's why I say, am I completely fired up? 4 out of 5 maybe, because
that's fine.
Because it does. When you talk about setting in something in stone, and it's one of your cornerstones, I like the way Stick put it there as well, being able to coach up some of these guys. And not just that, I want, you know, even Tate Ratledge, who is still relatively young in his NFL career, to be able to have some type of cohesion and consistency while he's learning, because we expect him to be a big piece in this league as well. So that's where the Taylor Decker thing, I think it does play some, you know, it pays multiple dividends at a place where I don't know if Brad really, when you think, okay, I'm going to rebuild, I'm going to continue to build for the future just as much as we want to have our window open right now, season by season. I don't even know if he pondered he was going to have to be making all of these types of decisions, because you gave Kirby the money. You know, it's not like you thought, okay, I'm going to give him the money and then this. They brought back, a rag now, and it just didn't work out. You know, things
gave
like that.
Gave Aleem the money.
Gave Aleem.
Paid DJ Reed the money.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So
he's
now
hit. He's hit, but he's also, there's a lot of questionable decisions after year one of DJ Reed's contract, after year 2 of Aleem McNeil. There are Kirby Joseph. There are question marks on the guys that he's paid outside of your Goffs, your St. Browns, your Penei Sewells, which, like Vince at E313 in the chat alluded to, Goff needs to do that Mahomes restructure. Sometime in the next 11 days, we expect the Goff restructure. I expect the St. Brown restructure too. And these aren't like bad things for the players. And I want to talk about this from a Taylor Decker standpoint. These restructures are usually pretty player-friendly. It gives them guaranteed money up front. This is usually how it happens. Their money's converted to a signing bonus this year. They add some void years onto the contract. So if you're a player, you're getting more money up front.
Yeah.
So Goff's going to do that. St. Brown and Penei Sewell will do it at some point, whether it's this year or next year.
And I've come to realize it ultimately, it gives those top players a say-so, so to speak, in what the personnel decisions are. And that's what I like. In the NBA, they'll tell you that, hey, yeah, we'll include you in the decisions, but you don't have necessarily the leverage. In this instance, your top-line guys are going to have the leverage to say, you know what, yeah, we like this direction, or we think we need to go here for this offensive lineman. Here's the bread. Let's rock and roll.
Don't you guys think, Stick, that Taylor Decker maybe should think about that too? Like he's owed, his cap hit is $21 million. Don't you think if we're going to expect, call it 14 games max out of him, maybe restructure that contract? You know it's your last year. Get a little more dollars up front, and then let Brad Holmes put some money saved into that defense. Like, not even your replacement. He doesn't have to worry about them paying his replacement or drafting a replacement this year. That money, any money saved, is going into the defense or players around him.
Yeah, in a perfect world, they all restructure, so we keep getting more money and more money and more money and more money. I mean, Taylor Decker has earned his paycheck. He's seen it through with the Lions. So if he keeps at that $21 million rate, I'm not going to be super disappointed. I mean, Goff at the $70 million clip, that definitely has to be restructured. Yeah. And I think he'd be the first one to tell you that, too. I think that's kind of why they structured the deal this way. Like, hey, if you crush it, guess what? We're still going to keep you as our premier quarterback, because even when you hear Brad Holmes at the Combine getting grilled about the window from Rich Eisen and stuff like that, like one of the first things he lists is, no, we still have a quarterback that's in his prime playing top-level football. And if this year doesn't show you, of the two quarterbacks that were in the Super Bowl, that all you need is the dude to just be playing well and it's on the rest of the team to support him, I think Jared Goff still is that dude that can get you to a Super Bowl. So yeah, I don't think we need to pay him $70 million, though. I don't think anybody getting paid $70 million helps a team. So no. I would anticipate him restructuring in a big way, too. Like, I could see Goff cutting himself down to like 35 and shit. Like, look at us. Oh, God. Oh, he's only going to live on. How's he going to live on $35 million? I think he'll be just fine.
How's he going to pay for that security for Birmingham, brother?
He got rid of that a long time ago, man. I know I was clowning on him for that too, but you got to remember he came from punk ass LA.
Didn't know what to expect.
Paparazzi's popping out of the bushes, like you never know what's going on there, So he came to Detroit and didn't realize how these people are.
And you know what I like? Whether it was Woodward in Birmingham or leaving the stadium in downtown Detroit, it was cool after that game when it was just him and his father.
Yep.
No security there either, just amongst the people chanting his name, and they're just looking around like, yo, this is cool. I actually like that moment because I was like, you know what, okay, that's real.
We joke about it, and we'll always bring up him coming into Birmingham roast with his security staff. It's hilarious. But when you really step back and think about it, and okay, he doesn't have his security staff anymore. He's the part of Detroit. He is a Detroit Lion.
Awesome.
If Jared Goff finds himself in the Hall of Fame one day, it will be in a Lions uniform and not a Rams uniform. Like, he is now a Detroit Lion despite being drafted.
And we should root for that. I understand he's not the most perfect quarterback.
No.
But I don't know why we don't root for that. When we have some of our most beloved athletes like Justin Verlander and Matthew Stafford go and win championships with other teams, we don't have anything else left with those guys. Well, with JV,
he's back.
I'm glad he's come back. But right now, if you ask most of the people out there, they're going to say, well, he's going to go in underneath Houston. Or I know that they don't pick a cap in baseball.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But for argument's sake, like, you think he's going to go in as a Tiger?
I would love for him to go in as a Tiger, but I believe that these guys, in terms of the success at a championship level they've had, it's been outside of here. We have Jared Goff here, who has been to that stage. He has now taken he's had two amazing turnarounds with some NFC teams and the Rams and the Lions that were in the dredges before he got there, and took them to the only quarterback to do that, to the NFC Championship game. That's something to root for. He's our guy. He's shown he can get it done, and that's where I agree exactly with Stick. Am I 100% like, no, he's the most perfect quarterback?
No.
I'm not saying that at all. But has he proven to be way more than capable to be able to get us there? Yes, and that's where I think even more, this is our guy that we know is going to put on for Detroit. This is our guy that we know is not going anywhere if he wins here. This is it. That's why I think it's something worth rooting for. I think it's something worth getting behind. We used to do that. We used to. Well, I don't know what's happening.
And that's what frustrates me. That's what frustrates me the most. We got people that still root for the guy that couldn't win a playoff game in 12 years and saying, like, that's the Lions quarterback. I'm like, no, that's the guy who led us to absolutely nothing for over a decade, and you sat there and thought it was good football. And then when good football's smacking you in the face, playoff wins are happening, number one seeds are happening, MVP talk is happening, it's like, nah, not good enough. That's where I don't understand. But, back to the point of the security, I think Jared Goff realizes that this city is his security now, right? Like, ain't nobody going to mess with Jared Goff. And he knows that this city has his back, except for the punk asses who complain about chanting his name.
That's a bar. Any rebuttal, young Hefe?
Listen, I've come to the realization
when you start with the listen,
no matter what,
we
Jared
teed him
Goff
up.
Is going to be the quarterback for the Detroit Lions. They paid him. He has no trade clause. You can't get rid of the guy. I just want us to build a solid team around the guy. Obviously, you gotta play to his strengths. If you want to win with Jared Goff, you got to play to his strengths. Do I think he is the best quarterback ever? Absolutely not. I'm not on Stick's level with that. But they got to address the offensive line, and that's how they protect Jared Goff, and that's how they get the most out of him.
Yeah.
So I'm just my brain is, how can we get the most out of Jared Goff now? And that's all I want to see.
It's partly why we're spending so much time this offseason talking about offensive line and Taylor Decker and centers, like the non-sexy positions, because that lack of sexiness is what makes this offense sexy. It's what makes this engine go, that offensive line. Taylor Decker's coming back.
But can we be honest with ourselves? Like, the offense has never been the problem. Even this year, with a tore-up offensive line, the offense still produced. It's the defense that has cost us several years now, right?
Yes.
Last year, defense was the problem. The year before, defense was the problem. We can blame injuries all we want, but at the end of the day, go look at why Seattle won a Super Bowl. It wasn't because they had the most elite quarterback in the game. It's because they had the most complete team in the game, and they were able to use that defense to propel themselves. So until we get the defensive side of the ball right, it doesn't matter that Jared Goff is putting up 40 points a game in a Lions uniform. If we're giving up 44, and, people want to bitch about the 5-turnover game against Washington, the offense still put up 35 points that game or whatever it is. If you tell me, hey, any game your offense is putting up 35 points, I'll tell you that's a game your team should win. So as much as we want to focus on the offense, even though it's been in the shitter the last, the line has been in the shitter the last year, the offense still performed. Jared Goff still performed. Still a great completion percentage. And he had 2 wide receivers that led the league in drops with 9 and 8. That's 17 drops that would have elevated his completion percentage above 75 had those been caught. So, I know we talk about the offense a lot, but this defense, man, that's where it's got to be fixed. And not only with the players, but the coaching scheme. I pray to God Calvin Shepard turns into what everybody says he's going to turn into. Because last year, what I saw was a guy that was too proud to switch his system, was a guy that was too proud to make in-game adjustments, was a guy that was too proud to admit where they were failing. And you can't have that pride. You got to attack your faults, and I don't think we did that enough on the defensive side of the ball. So offensive side of the ball is right. Defensive side of the ball, sorry, my earphone came up. The defensive side of the ball, that's where this team needs to focus in the offseason. I don't give a shit. The offense works. It's been proven. I don't even think if we made no improvements to the offense this offseason, we'd still be okay. That defense needs a complete revamp.
If you don't make any enhancements to the offense,
the Lions defense,
you don't need
going.
You don't need running backs.
Right.
You don't need quarterback. You do need some line help, but they showed last year that even without the line help, they still put up quality numbers for an offense. So then go to the defensive side of the ball. That's where it fails, man. Look at who progressed through the entire playoffs. great defenses, and that's where the Lions got to start hanging their hat. We got the offense. Even if the offense takes a step back, the defense needs to take a leap forward.
See, I'm with you on the importance of the defense, and that defense needs to be a priority. But I think this is where a lot of people come at us, maybe come at you about the numbers and Jared Goff's numbers and the offensive numbers, because not all numbers are alike. Like, they had the numbers last year, but we know that offense wasn't what we're used to. And I'm not saying like the Ben Johnson perfect offense. I'm saying being able to truly control that time of possession, truly be able to control the game through the run game. Everything the years prior, the benefit, what's so great about Jared Goff is his ability to keep the chains moving, to keep to hit St. Brown and Laporta across the middle for 7, for 8. They had the numbers because of their explosive plays, because of J-Mo, because of Jahmyr Gibbs. All great things, but it needs to be paired with that run game that was inconsistent. As good as Jahmyr Gibbs was, he was inconsistent. Great game, bad game. Great game, bad. Like when I say great game, like really freaking great game, but then a dud. In the last 6 weeks of the season, complete duds. And the whole team just completely fell apart. So I think it's a little bit of both. I don't want to discount the importance of the offense and being able to run the ball, being able to actually control the ball, control the time of possession, which they didn't do last year.
And I agree with you. Of course, they need improvement on both sides of the ball, but to me, to only focus on the offense that has performed for the past 4 years compared to a defense that's underperformed for the past 4 years, it's a pretty simple what needs to be fixed first.
Yep.
Yeah, and for me, if we had Kirby and Joseph and and like Carlton Davis, the people who were
Kirby and Joseph.
I mean, I'm sorry.
No, I got you. Kirby and Branch.
Brian Branch.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis and the guys who have largely been the erasers, despite how bad they were between the 20s, then I would feel a little bit more in line with you. But because we don't have those guys is where I'm like, you know what? We need a little bit more balanced defense, because I think that's going to put too much stress on the offense. It's different when I know Kirby Joseph is going to go out there and have 7 to 8 interceptions this year. I know Brian Branch is going to go out there and grab some interceptions. I know Carlton Davis is going to go out there and be a turnover machine as well. I know Meek Robertson is going to go out there and punch a couple balls away. But now when you look at that secondary room, I don't know if we're going to be able to depend on any of those guys. We're looking at T.
But that's why you got to play zone. Play zone.
But we got Calvin Shepard.
But that's the thing. Then like, you got to coach to the players you have. Yeah. You can't just say, this is my system and it's going to work. Like, the great coaches will adjust to the players that they have, and that's what pissed me off about Calvin Shepard this year.
A little bit.
No matter how many times, like, your top 3 cornerbacks were gone. You don't have a Darrelle Revis. You don't have a Jalen Ramsey. You don't have those players to play zone. So quit fucking pretending. Like, lick your wounds and say, you know what? We're going to switch to zone sometimes. And I'm not saying switch your whole defense, but confuse the quarterbacks. Confuse what they're doing. Like, when you're predictable as a defense, it's curtains. And then when you don't have the talent and you're predictable, it's over.
And when you're predictable and can't get to the quarterback.
Cooking up, Stick.
It's over. That Steelers game is like the entire issue with this team in a nutshell.
That game.
You couldn't stop the run.
Gosh.
You couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers throwing hook shots up into, all he could get out of that arm, throwing it 35 yards downfield to Gainwell or whoever.
Shot put.
Yeah.
What about a couple games before that when Jameis Winston was in Ford Field and made himself look like he was prime Cam Newton?
Motherfucker caught a touchdown pass.
And, bro, I was
and juked
and I like Derek
Barnes.
But golly, he was all on his back. I was like, oh, man, this is bad.
Worst juke in Lions history, or evading Jameis Winston on Derek Barnes or Dak Prescott on Derek Barnes.
There's another one, too. I don't remember who it was on, but the one they compared to the great Barry Sanders.
Which one?
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, the touchdown he scored was last year. Baker.
And they put the montage of Baker's little juke and then put Barry up after. Like, what disrespect? I digress.
I wanted to talk Demo, and we'll get to it later.
The Baker fan club is special, man.
He sits in that chair.
Yeah.
He sits in that massage
yeah.
chair on Monday through Friday from 8 to 10.
Well, and then, Mike Valenti's dumbass earlier in the season, the Lions are a Baker Mayfield away from winning the Super Bowl. It's like, what are you talking about? The same guy that came in here and lost to Jared Goff, in the playoffs?
I don't remember him saying that. That's wild.
Oh, I remember. People don't forget.
So that tandem has said that and talked about them trading Amon-Ra St. Brown and a couple first-rounders for Crosby.
And anything for clicks, right?
Clicks, clicks, clicks.
You know what? We're going to have to get a hibachi hat for these segments, man, and just have him over there because he's cooking up over there.
Just cooking. Are we not talking about this cornerback room as being way more of an issue than it is?
No, it's an issue.
Is it the number one issue? We've been talking offensive line.
If you want to be real with yourself,
let's be real.
That's an issue.
Let's be real. DJ Reed, he's on a $44 million contract. Played okay some games, played bad some games last year. You're tied to him for a couple more years. Terrion Arnold, he keeps finding his name in the news, whether he was there in Florida or part of the armed robbery and kidnapping or not. Question marks. Injury question marks.
In his defense, Broder, should you really get in trouble for robbing the guys that robbed you? You're just getting what you got back. I mean, in reality, it should just be offsetting penalties, and everyone just goes about their day.
I like the offsetting penalty. That was clever. I think as humans, yes, all right, you're going to steal from me. I'm going to steal from you. But he's making millions of dollars in the NFL. The Lions have invested a lot into him.
He wasn't there.
The company you keep.
He wasn't there.
And I'm holding
and that was
judgment.
Not his girlfriend.
He in his legal representation said he has literally nothing to do with it. More may come out. I'll err on the side of innocent until proven guilty. But
I like that.
The company you keep, you got to be careful about the people you hang around with, the people you associate with. And aside from that headline, that controversy, that issue, his play has been 50. I like Terrion, and I like what he could turn into, but he's been hurt, and he hasn't been consistent out on the field. Ennis Rakestraw.
I liked him on the field, but
what does Ennis Rakestraw look like? I don't know.
Yeah, this year, Terrion, he looked like he could be a good corner, a great corner in the league for a while this year. Just the injuries took him out. Because before the injuries, he was actually doing a pretty good job at cleaning up what he was previously struggling with. So he was grabby. He was always getting the penalty for, pass interference. And he cleaned that up a lot. That was his biggest issue was he was sticky, but he was also had sticky hands and he was putting his hands on people.
I like that he was there with the players. He was there to get the penalty versus the Lions I grew up watching that are 5 to 7 yards away from the receiver every time they catch the ball. But he did get better with the penalties. He took Terry Foster's recommendation and put the oven mitts over his hands all offseason.
And for Ennis Rakestraw, though, it's like the Lions have to – you almost have to give up on him because you haven't seen him. He hasn't played. So you don't know we don't know what he looks like. None of us know what he looks like over, a 3-game span because he hasn't been on the field for 3 consecutive games. So might as well just throw his name almost off the roster. He's not on the roster.
It would be
in terms of what you need in this cornerback room.
You're not
So
wrong.
you were really just down to Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed, who wasn't elite. He wasn't even good.
In some games, he was bad. Some games, he was fine. Some games, he was bad.
And he was hurt for most of the season.
You're not wrong about Ennis Rakestraw.
That's not his fault, man. But that's the thing. That's on the coach. DJ Reed is hurt. He's not capable of covering Puka Nacua. But you run him out there single-man coverage every fucking time. That's on the coach, man.
With your
coverage
has to change.
You got to put your players in position to win.
I was going to say with your full complement of linebackers, too. That's what I just didn't get. You could have helped them this year. I thought that the pass rush was decent enough, and you had your linebackers there. You could have helped those guys somewhat. And it just – I get it, man. And to see these guys kind of in some of the positions they were in when they were getting juked in big moments, It wasn't like it was just like a one-off in the first quarter. We're seeing these guys get work. That's why I think the Steelers game irks people so much because of the frequency in which it happened during the big moments, during one of the biggest games of the season. You win that game, you're giving yourself a postseason chance.
Yeah.
And that's the thing there. And that's why it magnified so much. But it's with Drew Petzing here, and you're talking about getting Taylor Decker back, I'm hoping that does change your perspective a little bit as it relates to how they choose to stock this secondary back up.
That's the question I want to get to, because Jeff's not wrong about Ennis Rakestraw. Like, if it were up to me, all things being equal, you got to move on from him. Like he's a waste of a draft pick. You can't move on from him. You have to give him another chance.
You can't release him. You can't do anything like that.
Exactly.
But
you got to roll with him
as a GM. You have to just be real and say this guy literally just has not been on the field. So because of the fact that he has not been on the field,
anything. Is that better?
I can't expect him to be on the field. I can't expect him to stay healthy. I'm going to go ahead and draft a replacement. If he shows up,
if he earns it,
and he works and he's healthy, cool. Now we can see what we have, but we still have to move on. We still have to keep this train rolling.
That's the thing. It's got to be a draft pick, right? Like, but how high?
But
you got all these other needs.
Exact reason why I want to keep him, though, is we haven't even seen what he's capable of.
Yeah, you still keep him.
But if you remember preseason last year, all the talks were about how Rakestraw took that next step, how he's going to be a contributing factor to this defense, and then he goes down with injury. I can't fault guys for injury. That's like, if he was on the field and he was trash, get him the hell out of here. But we still don't even know what we have with this second round pick, right? So you got him, you got to still coach him up, and you got to hope you get him to his potential, because just throwing him out after injury does nobody any good.
Yeah, you don't throw him out, but you just draft a replacement because you don't know if he can be there for a full NFL season. And that's the big thing with him, is because we heard his ability going, even when we drafted him in the second round. Like, he was one of the best corners in that draft. And he was, widely known as one of the best corners in that draft. So to get him in the second round, and then, he had a pretty good camp, and then he gets injured. And we've seen him make some plays, but just not over a long game span. So you keep him, but you just move on. And then if he shows up, it's perfect. It's exactly what you wish for.
And my thing is, it's really the physicality. So it's like, just kind of the broad knowledge that I have on it, just looking into it, there were some people who had concerns about if he was going to be able to stand up against the physicality at the NFL level, especially with some of the injury histories he has. And the frame is not necessarily the biggest. So
he's tall and he's lanky.
Yeah, and that's.
But he was beat up at Mizzou. Stick, I'm with you. You can't blame the player for getting hurt, but there's got to be blame on Brad Holmes for drafting the player who has been hurt before, for signing Marcus Davenport, who's been hurt before, for bringing in all these guys that have injury question marks, and not just bringing them in as high ceiling guys. It's bringing them in and relying on them. It's not having Marcus Davenport on the roster, because if healthy, that could be a huge benefit to the team. He's a good player if healthy, but they relied on him as your starting edge rusher.
With J-Mo, right? J-Mo came in. He had the ACL injury. He was still, recovering from that, and we were okay with it. No one said anything. Like, we didn't expect him to, just be on the field come game one.
I don't know. There was a lot of people who were pretty upset with that.
Yeah.
Pick, and were wondering.
No, once he got back, then we were like, can we use him?
Before that, when they selected him, when they realized he wasn't going to play.
But at the time, you had St. Brown and you had Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, you had
and
backup.
Where the Lions were in their trajectory, you were fine with that. And you had a year to give Jamison Williams. You didn't have a year to give Marcus Davenport.
Brody,
we don't have time to mess around with this secondary again. And you're not going to be able to fix it all.
Broder,
what?
Do me a favor.
Talk to me.
Never say that name again.
What?
In the
Marcus?
State, in the state of Michigan, never say that name again.
It's for the point. I'm not saying it with any kind of reverie or I love the guy, because I got LaBartney in the chat.
Just call him JR.
He'll call us out. JR?
Yeah, just call him JR.
JR.
We'll
Junior.
know.
Who? Marcus Davenport?
No, the other guy.
Oh, Josh Reynolds. I thought you were talking Marcus Davenport.
He cost us a Super Bowl.
I was told that Jared Goff cost the team that
I was just
49ers
about to
game.
say.
I didn't say that.
Jameer Gibbs is still on the team, and he had the biggest fumble of his career in the second half, but we're not going to talk about that.
We don't mention those things.
St. Brown dropped the ball late in that game, too.
Disrespecting Jameer Gibbs now.
I'm not
Hey, you know what?
disrespecting
Don't forget about
Jameer
the
Gibbs.
kicker missing
He
field
fumbled,
goals.
and he was in tears after the game because he knew that fumble was the momentum shift. It wasn't the play that allowed the 49ers to win. It wasn't a fourth down drop, but it was second half. I think the 49ers just scored, and we just gave them the ball back again.
Yep. And you know what? IPE Club, he has a different theory as it relates to the secondary woes, especially amongst the cornerbacks. He says we haven't had a good cornerback since Darius Slay left. And Darius Slay didn't just leave.
Are we cursed?
He didn't just leave.
Are we cursed?
There was an individual who I will not, two of them that I will not speak of, that absolutely threw this man out on his backside. But you know what?
Are we cursed because of
he
it,
landed
Kool Aid?
on his feet. You know what? IPE Club, he's in the chat. That's what he's insinuating.
We might be cursed because of it.
But I do believe this.
When you don't treat the good ones right, this is what you get.
But
Because I was like, it's interesting because when Brad Holmes got here, one of the things that he was associated with was being the cornerback whisperer.
he called himself out. He called himself out
He
for
did
it.
call himself out.
And that's why I think that this is one of the biggest off seasons for him to get this thing right. You sunk a lot of draft capital into trying to get the secondary right. A lot of it, especially when you just kind of zoom in to like the Brian Branches and Terrion Arnold and this Rakestraw. Now you're left with what? That's why I do believe that this is the biggest year from. I was one of the ones who was push button like, this offensive line, this offensive line, this offensive line. But Stick has made a decent point as it relates to the offense, though it didn't operate at the level that we wanted it to. In terms of, some numbers were there, but the fluidity wasn't quite there like we've seen, and the innovation. The defense it feels like it can't stop anything or really support the offense, and I think it has a lot to do with what happened to that secondary.
Yeah. Dirty Dr. D. This is towards Brad Holmes. Dirty Dr. D. Carlton Davis was good, followed up by Steve Wilds. Gave Reed almost as much as Davis got. Another epic blunder. Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley,
Sutton toast,
and this Rakestraw. The list goes on. He has not hit. So to bring this all back together, you need a corner. You need reinforcements. How high do you draft a cornerback though? You need an offensive lineman. You need an edge rusher. Do you trust Brad Holmes to go draft a cornerback in round 1 or round 2 at 17 or 50?
I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. And
I don't.
This team has a bigger need and more glaring positional need to go and draft a corner in round 1, 2, and even
over an offensive
even if
lineman?
they can get into a 3, unless there's
over an offensive lineman.
No, you can't go over.
Okay, all right. I just had to have that
It
clarity.
is offensive line, edge,
You would go edge over
safety.
Corner
Defensive tackle,
safety, tight end.
A lot of issues with the Lions is that they don't have safeties now. So now you're taking your corners out of their position.
Right.
You have Amik Robertson playing out of his position. You have DJ Reed playing out of his position
With no pass
These
rush.
guys are nickel corners. They belong in the slot, guarding slot receivers. They are not meant to be on the outside going against the likes of CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua. These are big physical receivers that they just they clearly
They
have
can't
an
hang.
advantage. The receivers clearly have an advantage. And no Brian Branch. We'll be going to be honest about this. Brian Branch is not coming back anytime soon. If he comes back
least not to
this
start the
upcoming
season.
season at all. And Kirby Joseph, we don't know what he's going to look like. We don't know how healthy he is. We've
Kirby
seen
done.
a little bit, but
They got
it
big
doesn't look
issues.
good. So they have to figure out a way how to completely revamp this safety and corner room because DJ Reed's he can't play out of his position. He's locked into a contract, and you could trade him, but who's going to want that contract?
Well, that's why I wanted to ask the question, especially to you, Stig. I know we've talked about some of this before in terms of which position group do we need to go after most? And all of us said offensive line. But, after that, how do you rank these things? Because as you continue to listen to the needs of the secondary, cornerback and safety, it's continued to inch its way closer and closer. And I don't know if it's passed. It might have passed edge for me, man. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot that has to be done.
Can't do that, Kool Aid.
But I'm
you
want to
know why?
I'm going to ask you, Stick. And Jeff, too.
Because if you prioritize a safety and corner over edge, you're going to get the same issue over and over and over again, where these guys are asked to cover for 3 minutes while their quarterback is back there just evading all of the pass rush, or the pass rush is not getting there, and they have all day to throw. Like, you need to make the job easier for these safeties and corners, especially if they're not going to be elite. Like, you need to get guys that can get to that quarterback in a hurry. And it's not just Aiden Hutchinson. You need someone else. You need someone else that can produce not only just in sack production, but pressure rate and getting pressure on the quarterback, as well as stopping the run. Like, this is big issues for the Lions defensive line, because they've continued to neglect defensive end for years, and it's not been good for them.
Stick, with Taylor Decker coming back, is it now the smartest strategy for the Lions to sign a free agent center and then devote 90% of their draft, the first 2 rounds of their draft, to defense, instead of get a developmental tackle, go get an offensive player? Does it have to be defense?
Well, to me, it has to be defense for multiple reasons. One, just having these conversations with you, like, look at how many dogs we can point to on the offensive side of the ball. At every level, in every position, you have a dog at least. On the defensive side, you have Jack Campbell and you have Aiden Hutchinson. Outside of that, you're 9 players short, right? You're 9 dogs short of having an elite defense. So to me, it's best available. The one thing I will say, drafting a cornerback, they usually take 2 to 3 years to develop, unless you're a Sauce Gardner, and come out your rookie season. But cornerback is the toughest position to adjust to in the NFL. That's just the way it is. You go from guarding, a dude that's fresh out of high school, to Devontae Adams, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Mike Evans, and then, the list just keeps going on and on. Puka Nacua. Those are your weekly matchups. So cornerback, I'm a little wary of spending that early draft capital on, just because of that reason. We're in win now mode. We don't have time to develop a player for 3 years, so I'd stay away from it there. I do agree with you, though, addressing the offensive line through free agency. We saw it last year's with the Chicago Bears. They brought in 2 guys, completely revamped their offensive line. And then you saw it 2 years ago with the Lions with Zeitler. Like, a lot of people don't give Zeitler the credit that he deserves. When he was on the offensive line, that was a all-pro caliber guard that just walked out and went to play for Tennessee because he wanted to be closer to home, which is fine. But you can get those veteran offensive linemen in free agency. You do need to get a centerpiece like a Penei Sewell eventually if they're available. Mm-hmm. But that's where I'm just like, on the defensive side, outside of middle linebacker and 1 defensive edge, draft every fucking position. Just revamp the whole defense. But it's tough with how these guys develop, because we even saw Jack Campbell, all-pro, great, probably best linebacker in the league this year statistically, but it took him 3 years to get there. So that's where we're in a weird spot. We're in win now mode, but we need young guys to step up immediately on defense.
And I was just going to say that's what makes this to me that much more interesting. When you say weird spot, definitely, because when you go into this draft, because they have so much that they need on that secondary side, what do you prioritize? If you're going to go into free agency and you're looking for that offensive lineman, I know that you could sneak some secondary depth in there, but if you're looking for an absolute playmaker,
you can't.
Which way are you going? The only swing they can take is in the draft, it feels like.
Which does that mean you have to also go, whether it's a top of the market or multiple above average edge rushers in free agency?
And I wonder what it looks like if Max Crosby, if that report, I wonder what it looks like for the Lions in that scenario or in that world, because as from what the reports are, he was prepared to go without what? We don't know what the first round picks would have been, But he was prepared to go potentially without a first-round pick.
It's a great point. And that would be the best solution outside of Myles Garrett.
100%.
Look at Jeff is over there. Jeff is. I see the TD desk is rising up over there.
Listen,
whether it's realistic or not,
take that deal in a heartbeat.
Actually, Max, the Crosby deal isn't as unrealistic as it's been in years past. But like Stick said, a cornerback, unless you know you're getting a Sauce Gardner or, I mean, Derek Stingley took a couple years to play out. Unless you're getting that guy you know year one, it's a 2 to 3 year process, so we don't have time for that.
Goodness, then how could the secondary?
We got to pay adults on the offensive line, and we need an adult on the defensive line, so you're not going to pay top dollar to a free agent cornerback or a free agent safety. So that's why pass rush better be the best in the freaking league. The pass rush
can cover the weak. Yeah, it can cover the weak back end if you have a good pass rush. Like, that's the creative solution to the problem staring you in the face. You know you don't have great cornerbacks, so beef up that defensive line. Make sure you saw shit. You saw what the Vikings did to the Lions this year. No stretch of the imagination should the Lions have ever lost to the Vikings either of those games, right?
And they got embarrassed.
But that defensive line pressure fucked up the offensive rhythm so bad that Brosmer came in and got a win, or whatever the hell that kid's name was.
Yeah.
And to pair that, though, like you said, with a little bit more innovation from Kelvin Shepherd and what he's doing with the secondary, mixing up the coverages, mixing up the looks, playing a little bit of zone. Because if, I know Jeff, that was his thing as well going into that draft. If you can get that edge to be able to help what's going on behind the guys. But that also falls on Kelvin Shepherd and hopefully Dan Campbell now, who when you're bringing in not just Drew Petzing, but also Mike Kafka, who's going to be a high-ranking offensive side official within the organization, hopefully that gives Dan Campbell a lot more time to sit with Kelvin Shepherd and help with these things, because it's Dan Campbell who's connected to guys like Parcells and Sean Payton, who have had obviously great offensive schemes, but also they've been known to also have some pretty good defensive schemes.
That Broncos defense, Sean Payton has himself a defense, and he found guys like Nick Bonito.
And Campbell has gleaned from that.
Yeah, take some of that. So we're talking the cornerback room and the safety. We're not going to be able to pay a lot of money or invest high draft capital into that, unless you want to move up and draft Caleb Downs. Not going to happen, but okay.
So it is high importance and priority.
Moving up the level of the defense, you got to beef up your defensive line and get pressure on the quarterback. And then moving up to the offense, since the defense is struggling, you got to have an offensive line that is able to control the football, control the time of possession. So it all flows with the cornerback and the secondary room as probably the weakness of this team. Build the offensive line, build the defensive line, and those guys better – they better figure out how to stop touchdowns in the red zone like the Lions did 2 years ago. Yeah. And you talk about so often that bend but don't break was fine because Kirby and Brian Branch in that secondary would not let touchdowns happen.
But you don't want that. But you don't want that to be your calling card, that you just are a bend but don't break defense.
Agreed.
Go out there and build this defense to be dominant.
Agreed, but they can't right now. There are too many needs. They need to do that.
There is so many needs, but
it's not a one-year thing. It's not a
one-year thing, but you have to take the steps. And that's one thing we haven't seen the Lions do at all, is take steps to actually make this defense, truly dominant. Because year after year, just like last year, what'd they do? They spent multiple third-round picks to go draft Tesla. I get it. He might have potential, but right now he's buried in the depth chart behind Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo, and it was Khalif Raymond, and it was whoever else was in front of him, and he didn't get a lot of playing time, but that's something that you could have spent on a guy that could have came in here and helped you win this year.
Yeah.
It could have been a defensive player that could have probably started instead of especially when you have Brian Branch and Kirby and the rest of the DBs go down.
You're right.
That's someone that can
but you don't know that
away.
at draft time.
You don't know that right away at draft time.
Going down. You don't know Kirby's going down. So, it's really easy to have 20 views on who you should have drafted. Mm-hmm. But, why would you think you had a safety issue before last season?
When you didn't.
You had the best safeties in the league last season going
But you did know that you had a defensive
issue. So why
issue.
would you address that in the draft?
Yeah, if you had the best
the Tesla thing
it helps the defensive line. They can cover a little bit.
The Tesla thing, you have your offense set. That's what I'm going to keep going back to. You have your one, you have your X, your Y, and your Z now locked up for the next 3 years with Tesla, JMO, and Amon-Ra. You have your quarterback locked up. Tight end, we're going back and forth on Laporta. I'm hearing rumors about that. Yeah. Your
Jameer's
offensive line isn't great, but it's serviceable. Jahmyr Gibbs, you didn't use David Montgomery to his full capability last year because you wanted to play with the new toy too much. So, that's where it's just offense is fine. My biggest concern of this whole team isn't even the talent pool. It is Calvin Shepard as defensive coordinator. I don't know why you ran it back. No, it's not that I want him gone. I want him to evolve or die like everything else in society, right?
Yeah.
And that's something we need to see from these guys.
And I told you before going into last year that I was shocked that they didn't hire OC from within, because why would you fuck up what was working on offense with take a Tanner Estrand and put him in that OC position because offensive is working, and then you hired from within for a defense that was the weak part of the fucking, and you're seeing what Aaron Glenn's doing on his own.
And that's what I was going to bring up, Stick, is we see
Shepard
Aaron Glenn
not
struggling.
Have been the hire year one.
Yeah. No.
His defense produced 0 interceptions throughout a whole NFL season. That has never been done before.
I'm not judging Aaron Glenn by his first year in New York, although it's chaos.
But that defense was good. That defense had a lot of playmakers on there.
And they traded Sauce and Quinnen, and they had some players, but
they were horrible before that.
What Aaron Glenn did, and Stick's not wrong. What Aaron Glenn did in Detroit, there were some moments where it's man, we need a little bit more. But also when you think about it, some of the guys he did have, the Benito Jones of the world, they consistently stop the run, top 5 in the NFL consistently. And being able to do that with multiple defensive line coaches coming through Detroit allowed for the struggles and the development in the back end of the defense. So I don't know, a little bit of give and take. But before we get to talking about the draft a little bit more in the combine, I do want to bring up one guy on the offensive line. On the offense, it's David Montgomery. Because we heard Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell talk about him this week, and it just left me more confused. It sounded, you guys heard the sound from Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell at the NFL Combine, basically say, hey, we would love to have David Montgomery here, but the ball's in his court. Even Brad Holmes even says something about the player needs to want to be here, blah, 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 blah. What's going on? Does this current situation, does it make you feel differently about David Montgomery as a Lion? Does it make you feel like you don't want him back here regardless? Or what's to make of this situation? Stick?
Listen, if you can have David Montgomery in your locker room, you keep David Montgomery in your locker room. I'm a big fan of his. I do believe you need the counterpunch to a Jahmyr Gibbs, and I do believe that's a part of the reason why Gibbs struggled down the stretch, right? He had never carried a full load for a team through an entire season. Last year, 2 years ago, it was the 1-2 punch. Sonic and Knuckles, we're all rocking it. Everybody's excited about the combination. Then David Montgomery comes into the playoff game a little limp. Everybody says, oh, you should have used Jahmyr Gibbs more against Washington. That's why you lost the game. And I think that notion carried over way too much into this season. David Montgomery, to me, is a big part of this. He's the guy that can move the line when your offense doesn't get the blocks, because trying to run Jahmyr Gibbs through the tackles over and over and over and over, you need to loosen up the defense, but when you see it's not working, you go away from it or try something else. And I just don't think we evolved enough this year. So I want David Montgomery in this locker room. I love what he brings to the team. I love what he brings to the city. I love that he came from Chicago, so it's a nice FU to Chicago, too, when he scores touchdowns. But that being said, we saw this year the team can survive without him. With Drew Petzing and what he was able to do with James Conner, I think he'll be able to get similar production out of David Montgomery if needed.
Yeah, I think Montgomery, he's too valuable to be unhappy. He's also too expensive to be unhappy. And I would have echoed 100% of what you just said, Stick, in terms of everything. We want him in the locker room. On the field, I want him back. I think he's a perfect complement to Jahmyr Gibbs, especially tweaking that offensive line. But what concerns me is why I love David Montgomery from the start seems to be wavering a little bit at the first sign of adversity. We're talking about the player needs to want to be here. Like, he's not. Do you guys remember his opening press conference? Do you have that video teed up, Jeff? I want to play this for you guys. It's 30 seconds long, but this isn't the words of someone who we should be worried about complaining about snaps, complaining about rushes. Listen to what he said when he first signed with the Lions.
I'm just here to be available. I'm here to be whoever, Coach Campbell and Ben, Coach Ben, whatever they need me to be, I'm here to be. So, if I need to go out there and pass protect every play, I'll do it. If I need to go play PP on a punt, I'll do it. If I need to play gunner, I'll do it. If Jared needs some water, I'll give it to him. So, it'll be good. I'm just here to, service the team and, be whoever Coach Campbell needs me to be.
What happened between that and now? I'm not going to let somebody say that and me believe in it and to sit here 2 years later after one down season with a crummy OC who didn't know how to run the ball, a crummy offensive line, and now I don't know if I want to be here. I'm not all in. I'm not 100% all in on the Lions to win a Super Bowl. I have a problem with this. I'm not writing him off yet. I have a big problem with this, though.
Where are you getting that from, Broder? Do we have him on tape saying he doesn't want to be here?
No, that's all of it's speculation, but we don't have anything saying, hey, no, I'm back here, I'm committed, Petzine's the OC, we're all good. It's all right since the exit interviews. Brad Holmes has been, I've had talks with his agent. Like it seems to be good, but the players got to want to be. This isn't all right. He's signed to a contract. He's going to be with us next year. Like, we're not talking about David Montgomery as, the best tandem in the league. It's all right. Is he going to be on this team? What?
Well, it seems like we do have a little bit of news.
What's up?
Per Jay Fowler at ESPN, Lions David Montgomery reportedly wants out of Detroit.
Whoa! Did that literally just drop?
20 minutes ago.
Well, let's talk about it. Hey, quote tweet the X post, man. I'm telling you, we talking about that right now.
Let's get that up on social.
I want to see that. So Jeremy Fowler, I just want to see with my eyes before I go off because that makes me mad.
Whoa.
That makes me mad.
Wait, you were already kind of measuredly fired up about this thing. Now you're probably in eruption mode.
Now I'm like, get him out as fast as possible.
Wow.
Trade Evan Sittery. Confirmed from Jeremy Fowler. Detroit is open to moving Montgomery for a 5th-round pick. Montgomery's role in Detroit was more reduced this past season due to Jahmyr Gibbs' superstar emergence.
So he's not
it's because the OC was bad.
So he's not the type of player that the Raiders are looking for.
I guess he's not going to do whatever it takes for the Lions to win and get Goff a cup of water or play kick return. I hope the team that gets him realizes that.
We were just sitting here talking about the different holes that are springing up on this ship and you're trying to plug it. This could be a big hole. Now you have to go and you have to know that you got something because he was your best pass blocker as well from the running back position, and he was a part of the tandem that was supposed to allow you to play both running backs at the same time and flex Jahmyr Gibbs outside. So this I don't even know how to process this right now. We were literally just teeing up the segment, and then the news broke. I think I saw Jay Hart mention something about it in the chat as well earlier, but I just kind of looked at it, breezed through as we talked, and then a few moments later it was confirmed. If you can confirm that again, El Jefre?
It's confirmed. Yeah, it's confirmed. A two-staff crew.
I'm going to read it off one more time just for the chat.
So reportedly from Jay Fowler at ESPN, Lions running back David Montgomery reportedly wants out. And it was reported that the Lions are looking for a day 3 pick in return for David Montgomery.
Well, they got a 5th for Swift from Philly a couple years. Like, he's not going to get more than a 5th. David Montgomery's a good player, but good Lord, man. Talk about 2 years later.
In terms of value, he's worth more than the 5th round pick you get.
Yeah, but no one's going to – he's $9 million cap hit. Like, he's expensive. He's a top – I think he's a top 10, 12 paid running back in the league. And this is another hole that needs to be filled now. Stick?
Well, it's your backup running back hole, so it's not like life or death. But looking at the free agents this year that they could just go get if they wanted to instantly plug and play for him, in the $3 to $8 million range, which is right where he is, you don't want to probably go over that. I mean, because you're not going to get the Kenneth Walker, the Travis Etienne, or the Breece Hall. You're not going to get one of those guys. But a Rico Dowdell, Kenneth Gainwell, Tyler Algier, Rashad White, Brian Robinson are all available. J.K. Dobbins is available. I think that's an interesting look if you're Detroit Lions.
Some upside.
You could probably get him between 2 and 4. Najee Harris, even though he's injured, but we know Brad loves injured players. Austin Eckler, I do not want. Isaiah Pacheco, that's an interesting guy. I love the way he runs, but also frequently injured because of his running style. And then if you want to go on the cheap, you got Michael Carter, who I thought coming out of North Carolina would be a much better pro, but he ended up not doing well.
Played under Petzing in Arizona.
There you go. Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary, Nick Chubb is also a good option, I think. Outside of that, those are your main free agent options if you're looking to trade him and plug and play real quick. Which, honestly, if any of those guys, I'd be comfortable as a backup just because of the way they used him last year. But I'll tell you this much, Jahmyr Gibbs, the one part of his game that needs to step up now more than any is the pass pro. We saw many a times him get blown by last year, and with a weak offensive line, you cannot have a weak running back in pass pro. You just can't.
Absolutely. Otherwise, he can't be out there first down to third down. Like, I think the backup running back position is important.
Who do you want?
There was a guy.
Honestly, Rico Dowdle would be the guy on my.
But don't you think he's going to go try to get paid? He had a pretty good year.
He could. He definitely could go get paid.
And what range do you want to be in for
low? I want it to be
just
as close
out of
to
those
that
names,
3 mil
like,
as possible.
That would be the guy.
Yeah, so you're not going back into that 7 to 10 mil range.
If you're going forward with Gibbs as your bell cow, you can't have an expensive running back room.
Gibbs about to get paid.
He's about to be the highest paid running back in NFL history. You can't have. You need stability in the running back room, but you can't pay David Montgomery money to the backup running back.
Zach Follett, baby. Bring back Zach Follett.
Part of the Hallett and Mallet and Zach Follett.
Bring back Craig Reynolds.
I like the idea.
Netflix.
I don't know if it's J.K. or Kenneth Gainwell because we saw he can catch out of the backfield. Like he's a smart football player. Played for the Steelers.
I mean, any of those guys that you can just
Rashad White,
not pay a lot of money to, but can come in and produce at any type of level because you already have Jahmyr Gibbs. Like that's clearly going to be your running back for the future. So it's not like this is going to be like a huge blow for the Lions because you still have that running back in Jahmyr Gibbs on your roster. So it's not like this would hurt the Lions. Honestly, this could potentially help the Lions because it gives them another pick to add into this year or maybe another year. But I'm pretty sure they would probably go after and get a pick this year somewhere around day 3, whether it's around 5, round 6. It's a way to get another piece of talent into the Detroit Lions defense. And that's something that we could be excited about if that was the case and they do have to move on from David Montgomery.
Wow.
Justin Rogers today.
Justin Rogers on the Detroit Football Network?
Yes, DetroitFootball.net, just so we make sure we get the right credit. 2026 NFL free agency preview. Lions will have running back options if David Montgomery's situation ends in a split. And that's amazing. That gets posted today. Same data of this supposed Fowler report. And
free agency is almost here, so it's time for it.
He lists the top players available. You know what name is first, right?
What?
K9.
Wow.
Kenneth Walker. But he's supposed to be in the $10 million range. You can't pay.
Let's go get a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, sure, that's gonna happen.
That's an expensive fix.
He did list the potential outside fits. Brian Robinson, Tyler, Algier.
Yeah, everybody
Nick
I just
Chubb.
named.
Yep.
Got it.
There you go.
I have
Stick nose ball.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Brian Robinson after getting shot 4 times.
You're in a different time zone. No.
Right. No, we're in the same time zone, baby.
Oh, man, even more reasons.
Labartney in the chat. JFL, I need that Kami Maz cartoon, $4.99. Appreciate you, Labartney. Right above his super chat, Flip the Bird. Shout out to Brian Branch. Flip the Bird says, Vaki. Is Vaki a true option as your number 2 running back? I don't think so. Do you
We
guys?
don't know.
We don't
We
know.
don't know. We haven't seen Vaki. I mean, that's the thing. It's been such a deep running back room, but his
He's
RAS
been
score
used
was
as a
off the
fullback.
chart.
He's been used as a fullback, so
Fullback?
that would be.
Vincent
they
E,
used him as
Tyler
like
Allgeier's a free
H-back.
agent. Steve Wilds
in
points
some
out Gibbs
sets.
didn't do anything for the last 6 games. Like, truly not
But he
anything.
was tired.
What if Gibbs goes down? Michael Rimmer 4200 says.
Whoa,
They have
why
to
are we
address-
thinking of the worst?
Because
What?
the worst has happened to the Lions these last 2 seasons.
I know, but
the
you don't-
worst
you
has
don't-
happened
Brad's
to them.
fault.
But you don't say
If he goes
those
down,
things.
it's Brad's fault.
We all know you don't say those things. Those
Vaki
are
was
things
a
you don't
wasted
talk about.
pick, says Steve Wiles. Who's calling for Zach Zenner to come back?
What's wrong with Vaki?
We don't know about Vaki, and he was never really a running back.
But he's one hell of a special teams player, though.
100%. And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that's where he should stay. This is just one more need of the Lions. It's not going to be priority number 1, but they got to either get a free agent cheap or draft a running back past the 4th round.
And I believe we did miss a super chat earlier from Labartney.
Oh, hit it.
Wifey and kiddo cannot wait to head to Germany, mostly kiddo, for their first Lions game.
Hey, it's fire.
It's going to be so
Shout
much
out,
fun.
man.
I wonder what
one of
that
our
trip is.
international fans.
I wonder what that trip for Labarney is from Dubai to Germany. How long it takes, how easy it is. I'll tell you guys,
Hey, document it, man. Send content, bro.
from my time in Germany, it's such a beautiful country. I had no idea what to expect going into it, but it is stunning. Munich's incredible. They're going to treat the Lions well. That's for sure. Man, this Montgomery news got
The
me
Germans.
throwed. What'd you say about the Germans?
The Germans. No, that's all. I'm just throwing that in there. No, this is fun news, right, though? This is why Terry Foster, who thought there was no Lions coverage this summer, is missing out, baby. 'cause
Shout
we
out
get
to the
breaking
legend.
news. I love
T-Foss,
you,
man.
T-Foss.
Yeah.
But man, and this is where like Brad's now in the lab again, because now if he wants to be gone, you also have a trade asset too to go get. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pick; it can be a Montgomery and situation. So if we're looking at Vegas, who needs a backup to Genty, and you're thinking of Max Crosby. Well, now it's like, okay, you want this, plus we'll give you your backup running back in bell cow too. So, it's a little something more, as you like to put it, Broder, something in his quiver. So now he can go to war a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Stick, would
And
you
it's
want them
bet-
to address the running back position in this draft if they don't do it in free agency?
I honestly haven't done too much research on the running backs coming out in this draft because I thought it was a non-starter for us. But I wouldn't mind. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind. I don't want a first-round pick or second-round pick, but if they addressed it later in the draft with I think what we do need is a counterpart, though. We don't need another Gibbs-esque back. We need a 6'4", 240 guy that can pound it up the middle.
Yeah.
Pause.
Eat some blocks when necessary.
With that, we got 5 minutes to go, and it may have changed. But Jeff has his 2.0 mock draft. I think it's a good time to end the show with this. We'll break it down a little bit. I have a feeling you don't have a running back in the top 4 rounds on this.
Did you put it in Slack?
What was that?
Did you put it in Slack?
Your mock draft?
Yeah.
I did not put your mock draft.
I could just tell the people.
Yeah, no.
I could just tell the people.
I love the
talk-
snark. Your mock draft, the one that you made.
Yeah, I don't have access to your computer to send it into Slack.
I sent a message to your phone. It's okay. I could just tell the people.
Yeah,
So in the first round,
load
at
it
the
up.
17th
I'll
pick,
send it in for you.
I have the Lions selecting. Let me see if I can say this guy's name right. I don't want to butcher it.
Oh, I'll say it for you. Oliva Vega Ioane.
There you go.
I can't believe you. I haven't looked at this. I want this so. Me and Steve Wiles both want this so bad. Sorry. Continue.
If they're going to address offensive line, it's going to be within the first two rounds of this NFL draft. At this point in that draft, a lot of the edge rushers were gone for some reason, and they had the offensive guard staring me in the face, and I was like, you know what? Even though I don't think necessarily that offensive guard is like the biggest position of need for the Lions, because they do have a lot of those guys in the roster, But do you have a guy like this?
No, they
Do you have
don't.
a guy that is this talented? Do you have a guy that is this physical? You don't.
No.
So you draft him, and he becomes your guard along with Tate Ratledge for the future. And you then have Taylor Decker back, so that eased my mind at being able to actually choose a true offensive guard to pair along with that offensive line.
Yes. Let me finish talking about that. I sent it in Slack, so you pull that up and we'll keep talking. But this I love, and I haven't seen many people other than some dude from NFL.com put that up before Jeff. If you're going to still go get a free agent center, you're going to go get a Cade Mays for $12 million. You got Tate Ratledge at right guard, and you got Ioane at left guard. This dude hasn't given up, I think, a sack in the last 2 years. He's the best pass protector in college football, and his upside in the run game is insane.
He's physical.
So, he's so physical.
And he's athletically talented as well. He's one of those big guys that can. He's a little agile, especially for an offensive guard. That's what you want.
This is how you insulate Jared Goff. You help your run game out. This is he's a day one starter for the Detroit Lions.
100%.
And what that means, unfortunately, some people might not like this, but I do. Mahogany's a backup. Mahogany is your backup left guard or right guard. I'm okay with that. I want guys like that as backups.
You're offending some people right now. Some people like dirt
That's fine.
bags.
I love Mahogany. He's been hurt a decent amount the last 2 years, too. He's not the best left guard.
And he had
I like
injuries
his
coming
ceiling.
in.
I'm upgrading
That's
if
why
I
he fell
can.
in his draft because he was injured.
I'm upgrading if I can. I'm upgrading.
Oh, yeah.
And Ioane does that. Your contracts now at the offensive line are all they're all separated nicely over the next 4 years. I love it, especially when I see what you did in round 2.
So round 2, went ahead and drafted. We got to address the edge. It's important. We got Zion Young out of Missouri there. He is going to be the apparent to Aiden Hutchinson in terms of what he can do is he can stop the run and he can also get after the passer.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the best pass rusher in this class? Absolutely not. But he is someone that can give you both a pass rush and rush defense, because that was one of the other things that the Lions struggled with, especially in the second half, the second portion of the season, was they were getting run all over. And that absolutely cannot happen. And a lot of that starts at the edge, because you need someone that can go out there and set that edge, and you want them to turn these running backs back into the big guys. You want them to turn them back into Aleem McNeil, turn them back into Tyleek. That makes those guys' jobs a lot easier when they're taking on double teams, is when you have an edge that can turn them guys back.
I think Lions fans will agree with me. The strategy with the type of player that Marcus Davenport is a strategy I am okay with.
Yeah.
It was he never played, and he was injured.
He was
and it doesn't work. But finding a beast who can help set the edge and funnel things into the defensive tackles that you invested in, to Hutch, to Jack Campbell, to eat up in the run game, to Brian Branch and Terrion Arnold on the outside. I'm okay with that type of player. Right now, I kind of want a speed rusher, a speed edge, but nonetheless, I'm okay. It is 9:30, so let's rock through these last few. More theory of the positions.
I built this here mock for Stick. He said he wanted defense. It's defense filled. It's defense filled.
And I like the attention that you paid as well, priority wise. You're true to what you said. You want that edge, but I like the fact that you took 3 picks for that secondary in this draft too.
Yeah, you can't just go and address this defense with the secondary in these first 2 rounds, because you need the guys that can, number one, make that. If you're gonna get a young guy back there, then you need someone that can make that job easier.
Yep.
And you also need someone that can help you protect Jared Goff. That's your biggest asset in terms of what you're paying him and what you need. Like, if your quarterback goes down, that's it. It's a wrap.
Welcome me to this new secondary members. Then.
So new secondary member is Jelon Kilgore of South Carolina, and the reason why I like this guy is because he can play multiple different positions along this defensive secondary. He has experience playing at nickel. He has experience playing as box, and he has experience throughout, even corner, like on the outside a little bit. Like he's very, versing the whole secondary. Now, he is someone that you can obviously use as a depth piece. For me,
Versatility.
yeah, like even if you do have Kirby come back, even if you do have Brian Branch come back, like
Flip the bird
now
loves
you have
that pick.
someone. Now you have someone that can be versatile and can play, but he's also very physical. Like he attacks in the run game, and obviously has forced some turnovers, and he had a pretty good combine as well.
I love it.
When you look at
hey, Stick, looking at just take us out with this, and we'll wrap up here. The positions and how Jeff thought about this, starting with the offensive lineman, and then going edge, safety, cornerback, defensive tackle, safety, and then sprinkling in a quarterback and a tight end. I'm cool with. Yeah. Are you cool with that thought, defensive man?
Yeah, I mean they're all positions of need, so I'm good with it, right? If you would have started off with a wide receiver or quarterback or linebacker, then I would have had some concerns. But no, also I wouldn't mind the Lions going offensive line too with their first pick. I like Blake Miller, I think out of Clemson. I think he's a beast. I'd love to see him on the offensive line. But like I said, throw a dart at almost every position on the defensive side, and you're in good shape drafting in that position. You need help everywhere at every single level. You need defensive line, you need linebackers, you need cornerbacks, and you need safeties. So it's a lot of work, but I do like your theory though, Broder. Let's go all in, get another premier defensive edge rusher, and that kind of alleviates some of the pressure on the back end.
And just for Stick, I had to get a backup quarterback that
that's fine. I don't think Stick will care about that.
Idolizes his arch nemesis in Josh Allen over there.
Stick, do you care about the Lions taking a shot later rounds for a quarterback?
That kid actually had a really
No,
good
they just did it with Hendon. They did it with Hendon Hooker, and how'd that work out?
Yeah, that was way too high.
That was.
Yeah, this is a 6th round
Yes
pick.
and no, though.
It's a 6th round pick.
I mean, Hendon Hooker was projected to be a Heisman winner before he went down, so that was a gamble that didn't pay off.
Yeah.
And we can judge it now, which we always do, 2020. But draft somebody. Goff's not going to be the quarterback forever. I think we all know that.
Yeah,
but and they still need somebody in that room besides Kyle Allen. I mean, am I right, Stick? He's not.
No, not really.
It's Goff or
Kirko Chains. Kirko Chains has made enough money. Come up to Detroit.
Goff is a Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's enough decent free agent. There's enough decent free agent quarterbacks out there that you can just sign and have on the roster. Like, because ideally they're only holding a clipboard anyways.
Yeah.
Talking about quarterbacks, super random. But
until they're needed,
shout out to Teddy Bridgewater.
Because
you remember the troubles he got into with the school because he was helping out some of the
kids
with lunch.
So dumb.
They protested and did some things down there, and they actually got that rule changed. So just shout out to Teddy Bridgewater, man. Y'all say
one of the good guys.
A clipboard, it just brought him back. One of the good guys for real.
Being elite with the clipboard is an important role on this team behind Jared Goff. Seriously, not the most important, but it's not nothing.
Let me hold the clipboard.
Yeah, that's right.
Seriously, I don't know.
Got another super chat in there.
Yep, Dante151 will take us out with this $4.99.
Dante!
Thank you, man. First off, happy March 1st to everyone. Second off, would you guys be fine with Brad drafting a guy like safety Lewis Moore in the 2nd or 3rd round? I have no problem with the safety in the 2nd or 3rd round. I don't know about Lewis Moore, but if Dante believes in him or if it's someone they believe in,
I'm okay with secondary in the 2nd round.
Yeah. Me too.
I am.
Only secondary player I want. Only safety I want. Do I want any of the other cornerbacks? Caleb Downs, if you can trade up to top 5 and go get him, I would want him. Not going to happen. Go get yourself Lewis Moore in the 2nd or 3rd. Dante had a bar earlier. I think I wrote it down on some show earlier in the week where he compared – it was comparing John Morton to Brad Osmus. And I thought it was great. I thought it was great. It was a bar, Dante. I remembered.
I hate Brad Osmus so much.
Me too.
I hate what he did to that team.
He's very handsome.
I hate you, Brad Osmus.
Say, well, you don't like sexy Brad? That's not the right.
The guy
like
that said,
Brad.
for quote, they handed me the keys to a Corvette, and all I got to do is not crash it. And then not only did he crash it, he put it in the Detroit River, sunk it to the bottom. I just feel bad because Ron Gardenhire should have been the hire out the gate. Like, I love Rod Gardenhire.
Yeah.
Through the moon and back. Like, that is a baseball man. If he took over from Leland, nothing would have changed.
Nothing. Shout out to you, Phil C231. Let's
see you,
wrap up
Phil.
this show.
Shout out to Kevin McGonigal.
Bill.
Shout out to Kevin, boy.
Kevin
He's
McGonigal's having
balling.
himself a spring also.
balling.
Shout out to Detroit Sports. Pistons play tonight against the Magic. Orlando Magic. Go take care of business, Pistons.
Handle your business.
Wings are playing well. Tigers are down in spring training. McGonigal's playing well. Max Clark has too many chains on. Love the kid, though.
Bling, bling.
Bling, bling.
It's the aura.
It's the aura. We'll see you guys next Sunday at 8 a.m. Remember, the next
Stick with the
11
Cayman's
days,
aura.
a lot going to be happening in Lions Land the next 11 days before the start of the league year. Remember, they got to be under the salary cap by March 11th. So we got a lot to talk about. Tune into all shows on Woodward Sports Network throughout the week, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Great personalities, great hosts. Jeff will be in on probably all of them.
We're getting a little black and white from Stick here. We love it, Stick.
Shout out Grand Cayman. And Kool Aid is on the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep, 2 to 4 p.m.
2 to 5?
every single day here on WSN.
Tap in.
Appreciate you guys for joining us. If you could, hit the like button on the way out. Leave us a comment after the show. It helps us all out. Have a wonderful Sunday. And subscribe. We'll see you next Sunday.